Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is November 17th. Welcome to my channel. Obviously, we had a crazy Friday. However, that Friday was a little different than the previous Friday. And definitely, it's not opening with a gap up like it did the previous Monday. This is different, okay? Because right now, we are taking back. What are we now? Let's see where we're at. We're almost at the midpoint of Friday, okay? So it's not the same at all. Okay. Over the weekend, looks like Warren Buffett took a big stake of Google. Michael Burry's coming out on November 25th, and he posted something that about just the overvaluations and it's the housing crisis and the bubble. Um, we'll see what happens with that. Netflix, you'll notice it did a split, so now that stock's $110 per share. And that stock was generally super volatile. Now that will not be a volatile stock anymore. That stock is now going to be more like moving normal. So over the past, what I've been trading, almost 6, 7 years, whatever it is, Google used to be at 3,000, Amazon used to be at 3,000, Tesla was in the 1,500s at one point, so was NVDA, and they've all split, and now they're more tradable. So Netflix is probably going to be now more liquid, a more liquid stock. The bid and the ask was usually not exactly tight in Netflix. It probably will be now. It will move like the other stocks. So it will not be a high flyer anymore. It used to be super volatile. That is gone. And it's funny because I was saying that not too long ago. Wow. And Netflix is wonder if they're going to split. And then, there you go. They split. Okay. So this market right now, if I'm going to show you real quick before we get into it, level right here, that's the anchored view up from the lows of Friday, and we just broke it in both markets, Nasdaq and ES futures, and this represents the average buyer from those lows. They are underwater right now. And again, there's poor structure here because of the way we ripped up. So we could take this back, and that's a pretty nice rejection right here. So interesting on a Monday. I didn't feel like this was similar to the prior Friday, like the prior Friday where we ripped, because we ripped at the end of the day. This was more or less early rip, and then kind of took it back towards the end of the day. So interesting. And we have NVIDIA earnings this week, Fed speak this week, FOMC minutes. Market never rests. Okay, so let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steve Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure of the markets along with supply and demand. Gamma shorts levels the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. Also use anchored VWAS, market internals, bookmap for futures, executions, and my trusty weekly expected move indicator. Now, last week there was like three major stocks that hit its expected move to the upside, and then we took a turn. So again, it seems like when I get three major stocks or so hit their expected moves to the upside, the market tends to pull back. I'm noticing this pattern over and over again. Okay. Now, hopefully, you join me every morning. Subscribe, set, and alert. Give you the market story. Give you the market news, economic calendar, bunch of technical analysis. Okay. And I give you the long and short trades in Nasdaq and ES futures. All right. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. All right. Let me be your indicator. All right. You also get my free weekly expected move indicator there as well. All right, you can throw that in the Thinkorswim and then put it on your. It will go right onto your phone. All right, you can see it on your phone as well. Very key. 70% of the time, the markets will close inside their expected range. That's a pretty good edge. Okay, that's a pretty good edge to have. All right, now let's get into the futures watch list here. Let's look at moving markets. We'll go over some future starts too. All right, now your VIX. All right, I expect the volume's pretty good right now. I expect to have a volatile day again. Okay, VIX is up 5.60%. It's almost at a 21 VIX. Expect some nice tempo today, nice moves. Okay, Monday's a little squirrely, but we'll see what transpires. Ethereum's up 0.91. Bitcoin's trying to bounce, up 0.75. Crude is up 0.40. Dollar's up 0.15. 30-year bonds are flat. Silver is pretty much flat. Nasdaq is flat. ES is pretty much flat. The Dow is down 0.11. Russell's down 0.15. 10-year yield is down 0.19. Gold. Can it flirt with the 4,000 again? Can it flirt with the 4,000 again? We will have to see. And there you go. Google getting love, up 3.76% with Warren Buffett taking a stake there. All right. Amazon up 0.45. Berkshire Hathaway up 0.23. 1%. Look at this. 1%ers are down here. Tesla down 1.03%. Apple down 1.07%. NVDA down 1.47%. Now remember, NVIDIA reports earnings this week. Eli Lilly had a monster week last week. Monster. Look at it. $1,000 stock. Right? Probably some profit taking finally. Unless there was negative news I'm not aware about. Top sectors. Chevron. Not much to talk about there. And we have Oracle, which was getting slammed. Palantir continues to fall, down 1.30%. Let's look at the granular list here. We have Alibaba, I believe that's Block, up 1.6. There's nothing HIMS. There's really nothing that's moving. And down Dell. Don't know why right now, but Dell is down almost 7%. I don't know why. UPS down, and that's it there. Maybe we'll find out with news why that is. Sectors. Okay. Communications leading the pack. That's your Google. Utilities up, energy, and down is semis, down 0.32, and your laggards technology. Okay. The laggard is technology. I have a feeling we might be range bound today, Monday, and like I said, it's pretty in things. There's a lot of things we need to talk about today, technically. All right. Let's move on to economic calendar now. All right, let's look at this together. New York Empire State Manufacturing Index comes out at 8:30. It doesn't really do anything to the markets. We got a lot of Fed speak at 9 a.m., 9:30. Okay. Now, last week they did move markets. We're talking about, I don't know if we're going to cut. Okay. Tuesday, what do we have? Let's just not talk about that. Wednesday, mortgage rates and EIA crude, and then we have FOMC minutes and Fed Williams. Thursday, it looks interesting. Thursday, we're getting non-farm payrolls and unemployment. That's what it looks like, at least for right now. Interesting. You should get them on Fridays. Friday, looks like giving PMIs, Michigan consumer sentiment. All right. Interesting. Thursday, then. Thursday. All right. Now, earnings calendar. Let's look at that together. We have, let's see, Home Depot before they open tomorrow. We have Target before they open on Wednesday. Lowe's. NVIDIA adding the close. That's the big one. On November 17th after the close, NVIDIA and Palo Alto. Okay. Walmart before they open on Thursday. Let's see. Intuit on the close of Thursday. BJ's. Some retail. Home Depot, Lowe's. NVIDIA's the big one though. NVIDIA's the big one. All right, back to here. Let's see. Trump today. He's speaking at 2 o'clock. He's speaking at 2 o'clock. Let's see if there's anything to note here with the nice little list here. What's moving markets pre-market. Doesn't look like there's anything special here. We'll move on. So I talked about earlier. Alphabet shares jump after Berkshire Hathaway makes rare tech bet with 4.9 billion stake. It says retail investors show less conviction in buying U.S. market dips. It says retail investors are showing signs of waning confidence in the U.S. stock market's ability to rebound, with market data and analyst observations both indicating an ebb in their enthusiasm after buying dips. FAA to end mandated cuts in domestic U.S. flights. And let's see, Emirates orders 65 more 777 777Xs as Boeing studies larger jet. Okay. Now, Wall Street futures studied at the start of the packed week featured earnings from AI giant NVIDIA, and the return of U.S. government data releases that offer fresh insight into the health of the economy. We talked about that. The Fed speaking this week. Okay. Interesting. He says the Apple, the iPhone maker, is stepping up its succession planning efforts as it prepares for Tim Cook to step down as chief executive of the tech giant as soon as next year. Apple's showing some weakness. I wonder if that's why. What else did I say that was weak? I'm forgetting now. Oh, Dell. Interesting. I don't know why Dell is weak right now. Let's see. Block. Jeffries cuts target price. All right. I think we're going to move on here. Let's move on. We'll start out with the market internals, which were beastly. That's an understatement. Beastly internals. Beast. Okay. And all you need to see is technology was up 2.45. That's a monster reading. These internals were up to like almost 800. That is like unheard of. That is like unheard of. Okay. And you can see even here, these are a little red. The overall market was not that strong, but it didn't matter. Market cap weight moves our markets, and that right there, folks, was all you needed to see. That lifted, just boom. Had a little consolidation, lifted, and then it kind of just died. Right? So that is beastly. Very beastly. Okay? All right, moving on to daily charts now. Let's look at these dailies. A lot to talk about as far as technical analysis wise. All right. So here's our daily chart of the SPY. Okay. What did we do? We almost came down to this low, but we didn't. So we have a higher low. Okay, we have a higher low. So again, came down. But difference was, you see the last Friday, we kind of closed at the highs. And then we gapped up on Sunday night. This time did not happen like that. It did not. We kind of had a nice wick. Closed here. And now, where are we? 671.35. 671.35. You are by the close. That's why we're almost flat. Okay. Let's look at futures. Give us a nice little view of the futures. I don't really need this sidebar here. Okay. So Look at futures. It's not giving us much. But remember, these are like 24-hour candles. So look at that, though. That's a nice rejection at the 90 MA daily. And you're right at the 50-day moving average again. So you broke it here. We came up. We tested it. We broke it again. Came above it. Now we're playing with it again. Okay. I don't know what this market's doing. I mean, look at this market. Big wick. Okay, we gap up and then we come back down and go right back to it. We big move up, and now we're rejecting. So I don't have a clue what this market's doing. I do not know. All I know is this dip buy is not as strong as this one. You're not getting follow through. Okay? You're just not. Maybe we need to take these out. Maybe we need to test down here. I don't know. Okay? SPY. I'm sorry. Qs. Qs. Let's look at them. Okay. So the Qs, what did it do? It came down to the previous week's lows, recovered from this trend line, and broke back over the 50-day moving average. Okay. Then had a nice little wick. Where is it now? 608.70. 608.70 is right here near the close of Friday. Not a lot of edge in that. Okay, let's look at the futures. Look at that futures. See that wick? That's a pretty nasty wick right to the 90 MA daily. That is this has a very weak structure here, and we could take this out. I don't know if this market can come down here again and bounce like that. Now we have NVDA earnings, FOMC minutes. We have a lot of stuff going on this week. We have unemployment data, so it's going to be a news-driven week. And again, swing trading this market is not easy at all. It's just not. It's a nightmare. I mean, how can you be sure of any position? I mean, you just can't. You just can't. And I'm not saying nobody can make money. I'm just saying it's very hard to like go, okay, um, even if let's say you were short up here, like I think Mark Minervini is, right? And then you do this, whoop, woof, to hold that short, to get all the way down to here to hold it, right? We are trending lower. Overall market trend is bullish, but who knows, right? Now, what we're going to look at here, we're going to look at real quickly the overall breadth of the markets. So this is your stocks, percentage of stocks in the S&P 500 that are over the 50-day simple moving average, only at 43%. 43%. Okay, that's just something to look at. This is not anything that's in some frothy territory. We're kind of in the middle, right? You know, you get extreme levels down here at like by April 7th, right? Extreme euphoria, that was July 1st. Since July 1st, we've been trending lower. But remember, overall breadth doesn't move markets. It just shows the breadth, right? Are we overall strong? Well, right now we're not. Right now we're not. All right, moving on. 2 hourly charts. Let's look at the hourlies. And there's something very significant going on right now. Okay. Let's look at these together. You get my marker out, and we'll get right to it. Okay. So this market. Oh, you really? All right. Let me exit out of this real quick, and we'll restart it. Okay. All right. Let's look at this together. So again, what did we do? We went. This was ultimate balance. We came and big moves happened on ultimate balance, and we took out all these anchor VWAPs, including last Friday's lows. Right? I got rid of that one. It's not important to me anymore. So, boom, we just cleared that up, and then I was like, wow, right? We came down here and then we cleaned up this structure here on Friday. Was like, whoa, what's going on here? Are we really ripping back up? And then what happened in the overnight, you gave a nice challenge to the month to date anchored VWAP right there at 68.02, and all of a sudden the market turned right at the month to date anchored VWAP. And what did it do? That's pretty nice. That's a nice rejection here because look, you came up, consolidated in the overnight, tried to break that month to date anchor VWAP, failed, took out this low, and took out the most traded price of the month. That's your 67.75, let's call it. Right? Retested it, fell. Okay. This is your anchored VWAP from the lows on Friday. The average long is underwater right now. Now, there's weak structure here again. So I marked single prints here. That's emotional buying from Friday. If this market gets weak, you can rip through that and you could really start ripping. This is all single prints. You could really start ripping through last week's lows, go to the prior week's lows. It can get nasty. But this market, I don't know what is going on. I don't have a foothold on it. That's why it's good to just be a day trader. Take advantage of momentum because I have no clue. Okay? But if we take this out, this little swing low here, right? We do something like this, and maybe we go like this, and maybe we hit this trend line, and then you could really cook. Okay, but this area, I've been talking about this area, right? Very important. I talked about it the first time we went down here. The area is from like 67.10s all the way down to the 66.70s. I said the first time we went down here, there's a lot of volume down here. And then when we recovered, and then we went all the way up and came back down, and look where we found support. Again there. Again in this area of high volume. If we come back here again, do we get bought again? Maybe. Or do we crush it? I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, 66.70 is that level. Okay? I don't have a clue what's going to go on. I just got to trade what I see in front of me. Okay? That's all you can do. We have nice volume, you can see here. Very nice volume today. It felt like a sucker's rally to me on Friday. And I'm not going to say I had conviction like, oh, I know this is going to dump. No, I didn't. But it felt different. Okay. Now, Qs. Let's talk about the Qs. Same kind of deal. Poor structure here. Dumped. Right? You dumped right into the prior week's lows. You're covered. And another nice rejection here. See, it didn't even reach its month-to-date anchor VWAP like the ES did because it's relatively weaker. Now, do we dump before NVIDIA's earnings? Don't know. Okay, but this is quite a rejection. Okay. If you take this consolidation out, like I said in the ES, like this, and you do something like this, it could easily be taken away. Easily. And if NVIDIA doesn't have lights out earnings, like I said, and I'm not predicting anything. I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to tell you anything. I could analyze the technical analysis for you. What's a scenario, but I do not have a clue. Big level here, 252s. That's your most traded price of the month. We are below that now. Okay, we are below that now. And like I said, this is pretty nasty rejection right there. And you're swiftly coming through this consolidation. Like I said, it's not going to be hard to cut through that. That was a like parabolic move. That was not a like move like this, up, move, nope. So it can be easily taken away. Like I said, anchored VWAP from these lows, the average buyer is underwater as we speak. I'm not going to feel good if I was long from here and I'm like, nice, I'm holding it, and you're like, uh-oh. Because the average buyer is underwater right now. Okay, and that's how you use those anchor VWAPs. Very important. That's hourly charts. All right, we're gonna get right into the market profile, volume profile part of the. I don't know if I was gonna say show, but I don't know if it's this is a show, but and this is your market profile, volume profile. We will analyze that. Okay, let's get into it. Like I said, this is pretty. That's a pretty nice rejection, like I was talking about in the overnights. Okay, that's a pretty nice rejection. Now, we do have a level here that's probably going to move. So I'm going to move this. This is the most traded price of the real-time trading hours. I'm going to move it to the 24-hour. I know it's going to adjust. It always does. What does this mean, folks? Ultimate balance. I'm almost saying it so I hear it myself because the last time I slept on the move away from ultimate balance and we had a big move. Okay? Ultimate balance. I'm saying it for myself. The 67, 75 area to 70s is ultimate balance. That's the most traded price of the last month and the last week. Trust me. That's why I'm saying this rejection is very important. The more you move away from this level, it's going to get bad. And there's very poor structure here. We've already tried it here. We got pushed. Came all the way. Tried it again. Get up now. That's a weaker push up, right? You pushed up all the way up here, but this time it's a weak push up, and we're already almost back to the midpoint of Friday. I can't stress enough that this is a pretty serious rejection. Now, do I think the market dumps before NVIDIA? I don't know. I would think you would think maybe not because of that big news that we don't know how that's going to shake out. My guess, whatever NVIDIA does, how much can it really impress? It usually beats. That's my thing. How much can it really impress? I don't know. Okay. Let's get into the analysis, all right? Remember, I keep talking about this level here. These three high volume nodes, the triple high volume node. Very important. It held the market over here. It held the market again. Does it hold it a third time? I don't know. But I can tell you one thing, that's getting weaker and weaker each time it comes down there. Each time it comes down there. Okay, now we have single prints here. That is weak structure. There's last week's lows, 66.70s. It held that level to the tick, boy. Okay, now here's the big level. Overnight highs are RTH highs, 68.01s. And guess what that line, well, we'll just do this, okay? It's got your month-to-date anchored VWAP. This area is ultimate balance. That's about 75, 66.75s all the way down to the 67.60s. That is your barometer, folks. That's a bullish, bearish line in the sand. You're underneath the 66, we'll just round it, 67.70s. It's not good. It's not good. It's the most traded price of the week and the month. I'm keep saying ultimate balance because I really want to make sure if we get a swift move, I'm telling you right now, the move is going to be a nice move down. If we go really start stretching away from it, okay? Next level, beautiful level here. You have single prints from Friday, the midpoint, 50% Fibonacci, right here. And then these are single prints. Okay. Now, I haven't talked about it in a little bit, but I want you to look at something. All right. And this is where I talk about my elephant on a toothpick. All right. That's why I keep talking about the poor structure. Now, if I draw in pink here, picture this as an elephant, and picture this as the toothpick. Now, generally, a toothpick cannot hold up an elephant, right? That's what I'm talking about. This structure is so weak, and we have ultimate balance above us. Okay, ultimate balance above us. Remember, the most agreed upon price of the last month and week. Long and shorts are there, the most contracts. Now, if this market starts to push lower, I'm telling you right now, this move is going to be beautiful. Okay? I'm really going to like remember that we're coming at an ultimate balance, okay? That's very important. I think we're ready for scenarios. Let's talk about it. Let's do it. Let me break out this session. There's that. Look at that. Look at that cascading. Just boom, boom, boom. I'm telling you right now, you're long. You were long on Friday. Poof. And the most traded price, the most agreed upon price of the last month and the week is right here, and you're below it. I'm telling you right now. Okay? Let's get into scenarios. All right. I have to talk about that bear case because this is what I just said. Okay? You're in single prints. You're by the 50% Fibonacci of Friday. Okay? Remember, this is not a week as hot as strong as a bounce anymore. What am I going to look for? Well, some people might want to buy that 50% Fibonacci. So I'm going to let that happen, hopefully. Let's see if we get a push up. Where are we going to get a push up into? Ultimate balance. 6760s to the 75s. To me, any rejection in here, you could even do this. Come into this supply, which would be nice. Reject, retest. I'm going to sure to ride this like a wave. Because remember what I said. Below this, you're coming from ultimate balance. You have poor foundation. Remember the elephant on the toothpick. It can smoke these levels. And you can test Friday's lows, which is last week's lows. And there's actually more poor structure below this. And this can just cook. Now, before NVDA earnings, I am not sure. But what I do know is this could be the end of it. I don't know. I'm going to be all over this. If I see internals that are turning weak, that is a pretty swift rejection up here. Okay? Now, if you miss that boat, right, and we do one of these, take out the overnight lows, you have to see if we start to hold in here, we could just start cooking. Okay? Now, another thing, if the ticks, which have been so key lately, especially the Nasdaq ticks, and if you follow me in my Discord, that's been a big edge, is when those ticks hold under zero for amounts of time, every pop gets sold. And I hope I see that today. Okay? I'm hoping I'm seeing that today. If you want to know that, you're going to listen to me and join my Discord today. I'm telling you right now, those ticks are so key when they hold under zero. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Okay? Now, as far as the long, okay, I could see, like I said, the part of my first short scenario, it could be the long, right? So right here, let's say the market pushes up. Oh, you get support around the 50% Fibonacci, and then you get this move into ultimate balance. That might be a nice scalp. Okay. Now, in order for me to change my brain and really have this market prove something to me, would be this. If any time we came up through ultimate balance, held it, took out overnight highs, took out the month-to-date anchored VWAP, okay? That would prove to me, okay, this might have legs. And let's say if the market starts improving. We're pushing down right now, okay? This is what would make me be a little bit more of a believer. We did some pullback and we started to push up. I am not too much a fan of longs here. Not too much of it. Okay. Now, remember I kept talking about the single prints and the weak foundation. Well, if you find support in here, that's usually bullish. I'm going to be honest with you. If we are down here somehow, longs are not going to be happy. So what I would need to see, okay, even if we push down into here, I would need to see we took out Friday's high. It depends. We would probably be weak, and I'm not saying this is a high probable trade. I would need to see some big recovery in a higher low to try to get some relief, but I'm not a fan. As I'm speaking right now, I am not a fan of longs today. The market would have to change my mind with the market internals. Okay? It's NASDAQ, and then we'll get out of here. Okay. NASDAQ. We're on the NASDAQ now. Okay. Now, NASDAQ at those single prints. They also have single prints. Okay. And we have a nice key level here. Okay. Most traded price of the week, 252s of the month and of the rolling week. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put this down again. We're going to have ultimate balance here too. It's just a matter of time before this moves lower. So we have ultimate balance here as well. That level, 25220s. All right, to be exact. So I can't stress this enough. Ultimate balance and a nice rejection up here. And we have poor foundation here again. We have a poor low here. This should take a tail. This should make a tail here. If I was long, I'm going to be like, uh-oh, on Fridays. If I was long in options or whatever, and you can't do anything until the morning, right? I'm going to be, oh boy, this is not looking good. Am I going to want to buy that dip? I'm not sure. Okay. So let's start marking off levels. We do have our overnight high here. Kind of has a poor high here. We have supply. And we have ultimate balance at 252s. We're underneath that level. So I have to have a bias of bearishness. Just like I was talking about in the ES. Now, we have our overnight lows, single prints, and we have the 50% Fibonacci's right here, 24960s. Okay. And we have a very key level here. You have a demand zone and a very key support at 24626 Friday's lows, last week's lows. And these are single prints right in here. Remember, I talked about elephant on a toothpick. Very key. Hey, you have another demand zone down here. Let's get into it. Look at that cascade. That's what I'm saying. That's a nasty rejection here. That's a nasty rejection. Okay. Now, let's get into it. And I'm going to start with, one sec. Let's start these scenarios up. I'm going to start with the short side because that bias has flipped big time. That's a nasty rejection. Okay. So, what am I looking for? Remember, we're coming right up to the midpoint. We could definitely get a bounce. Fine. But I want to see what we do when we go up to the 25220s, okay? There's supply here, most traded price, ultimate balance, a rejection, retest, and here's a short. And that thing can cook. You get a weak market, we're falling. If the ticks are holding under zero, steady, whew, take out Friday's lows, we could really cook. Okay, see how it's just cascading now? This is what I'm saying. I almost shorted in the morning up somewhere in here. I was like, this is probably a nice short, but I'm like, I don't know. The market could open and rip up. It still can. This just screams short to me. I mean, as I'm speaking, very poor foundation here. And as I'm speaking, AMD is under negative 1%. Apple's down over 1%. Eli Lilly is. Tesla is. NVDA. I mean, Bitcoin must be falling apart or something. Yep, Bitcoin is now negative. Very interesting. And I heard something too over the weekend about Michael Saylor, like sold some Bitcoin. And MicroStrategy is in trouble. That's in trouble, that stock. Okay. All right. That's the short. Like I said, there be, if you miss this, you could do something like this. Hold down here a little bit and it's weak. I still think you got legs. Remember, NVIDIA, I understand, is on Wednesday. So, but the market can sell off and then bounce back waiting for NVIDIA. So it could happen. Longs. And the longs I am not crazy about. That's what I'm saying. I'm just not. Not the way this market just moved up like that. Remember, just as fast as it moved up, it can just move down just as fast. Okay, let's look at these longs here. And like I said, I need some proof here. You need to show me some strength. All right, so remember, I said we could pull back into the 50% Fibonacci, clean up the structure right here, and go, oh, longs got something. That could be a nice trade. You got supply up here. I would not be super confident that you're going to just keep ripping up. That could be it. Now, if you did rip up, and let's say you held this and you broke that supply overnight highs, all I would care about if the market was pretty firm, if we pulled back and held, then you could maybe get the long. Okay. Now, if we did get crushed, like I said, elephant on the toothpick, you hit this demand zone, maybe you recover, but I'm not really interested probably in this for down here. I mean, don't get me wrong. Can I maybe scalp a long if I see that there's an opportunity for a bear rally? Possibly. I'm just not excited about longs today. Unless the market shows me something different. Okay? That's it, folks. That's the analysis for today. All right? Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, smash the like button. That would mean a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you. All right? Now, hopefully every morning you join me. And you subscribe, set an alert. Like I said, I give you the market story, news, economic calendar. Try to give you the real deal with the markets, not a bunch of fluff or predictions. Okay? It's always based on markets got to prove to me what we're doing. All right? Because what does my feeling mean? It doesn't mean anything. Market does what the market's going to do. No one can predict a Trump tweet. No one can predict somebody bombing somebody. Nobody can predict that stuff. I forgot to mention that Trump did take some tariffs away, I believe, on bananas, coffee, certain other things. I don't think the market cares about that too much right now, but we'll have to see. Obviously, our government's back open. Remember, like what I said, that doesn't matter. In the long term, government shutdowns don't really do much. All right, it just doesn't. And then in the long, yes, you can get a sugar rush from it being down, meaning go down a little bit, go up if it's reopening, but that's a sugar rush. It's not really meant. It's not sustainable. Right? It's not like a tariff or a rate cut or something like that. Okay. All right. Now, if you want in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord, Confluence Trading. Go to the YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up. What are you waiting for? Use me as your indicator. I am very accurate of what the market's going to do every day. I'm very accurate with internals and my knowledge of watching those internals every day, seeing pretty much every scenario possible, and giving you the most probabilistic what's going to happen. And use it. It's free. I should be live, so come join. Now, if I don't see you in there, I'll see everybody tomorrow. So everybody, remember, no trade to trade. Take it easy.